Hi everyone, let's go through my bullish and bearish Elliott Wave scenarios on Bitcoin, including potential trading setup, starting with the bearish scenario on the medium time frame where we've been looking for a 1-2-1-2, then a wave 3, 4, and eventually a wave 5 to the downside. It is important to note that the higher a wave 4 is retracing, the deeper the targets for a wave 5 become, where still for me a very interesting target area is between 24.8k and 24.3k. If we then look at this wave 4, we found resistance at the 0.236, very nicely respected, which is also what you want to see. Then price continued to the upside, taking the daily naked point of control we had here without any problem, so that is now removed from the chart. Currently finding resistance at about the 0.382, as you can see, nicely respected as well, but my main area of resistance is actually right above the 0.382 at about the 0.5, which is between 28.6k and 29k. So at this area, what we have is we had a big resistance area over here throughout the week that we were inside this bigger range, which can now act as resistance once again. So that is quite a big level. We also had a little bit of support over here with a 4-hour candle. But as you can see, this is just a big resistance area. We have a daily naked point of control at 28.9k, the 0.5 as a maximum target for wave 4, as you don't really want to see high time frame candles close above the 0.5. And something to take into account is the 2.618. So the 2.618 that we see over here is an extension target for a wave C in case a wave C in a range like an ABC becomes extended. The most common targets, well, we've kind of pushed through those. I'll show you on the lower time frame count. But the 2.618 is also still a valid target for a wave C, even though rare, it is an extension target for a C. So this gives us then the potential trading setup where this wave 4 would then be finished over here. And the potential setup is entering a short in this area, stop loss above, where the clear invalidation is having candles close above the 0.5, as you don't want to see that. So clear invalidation for then a move to the downside, where this area, as mentioned, is for me a very important support area for Bitcoin, also on the higher time frame counts. If we then continue to the bullish scenario, we are basically talking about a structure, a 5-wave impulsive structure that has to be finished. So we then have some sort of a wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, something like that. Or this by itself is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this looks very much like a 3-wave structure, and I believe you won't really disagree with me. Looking at the chart from the 4-hour section, it looks like a 3-wave structure over here, which is the reason we're either thinking about a 1-2-1-2, or in the past, when this wave was not as much extended, an A, probably maybe B if it would have retraced higher C, but that's been invalidated. So yeah, this has to be some sort of a 1-2 structure over here. For then this being a wave 3, that's absolutely fine. This being a corrective wave 4, and then this being a wave 5, where this wave 5 also in the lower time frames has more of a 3-wave structure to it than a 5-wave impulsive structure. So something to look at on the lower time frames, which I'll show in a second. But in this bullish scenario, this move up is a wave A. So the move up is a wave A, we then create a corrective wave B for then an equal move wave C compared to wave A. So it's a zigzag. You then have a 5, 3, 5 wave move, where interestingly we have a target box right here, which is between 30.2k and 30.4k for a little bit of resistance. We have a daily over here. We have a weekly and also the current month point of control. So of the month of April at the moment, the point of control of this month is still sitting at this range over here at the highs. So that is quite an important resistance area for Bitcoin in case, because that's of course what it first has to do, it just in case it's gonna take the resistance area that we are approaching already. Once it goes above that, that's the moment we might go up for this target area above. But as it stands now, we are of course still below it, as you can see. So potentially wave A might finish at that resistance area for then a 3-wave structure in a wave B, corrective, and then another impulsive structure to wave C. That means that if we hit this resistance area over here, the move to the downside is going to be very important, because what are we going to see, right? How can we determine if this is a bullish scenario, like another move to the upside, or the bearish scenario where we're going to find more downside? So either upside or downside. Well, it has to do with this wave B over here, because either we're going to get a 3-wave structure and then a move to the upside, or in the bearish scenario, this is going to be a 5-wave impulsive structure. and we have to look at the volume and the structure to determine which one is going to be the most likely, right? So we have to wait and see if price is going to reach these highs, but for me, of course, that is, as mentioned, the biggest resistance area for price. And in the bullish scenario, if you do see a three-wave structure to the downside eventually, the potential long setup is having this scenario over here. But of course, by now, this is just to show you there's no entry over here whatsoever. We first have to wait for wave 8 to finish, and then, you know, this is just futuristic, but it does give you an idea of the potential setup maybe in the future. If we then go to the low time frame scenario, I want to show you the ABC that we had. So over here, the more bullish scenario, which we had on a lower time frame, was that this is a 3-wave A, 3-wave B, 5-wave C to the upside, where I mentioned yesterday that the most common target area for a wave C is between the 1.618s over here, and we had the daily naked point of control at 28.1K. Now, as you can see, price just pushed through, and the reason I kept this short setup on the chart is something that I do like to explain why I kept it on the chart and why this was invalid based on what we see for educational purposes, of course, as well as the longs that we had, where if we look at the bottom of this chart, we found support on my target box with 2 bounces over here, which was very nice. First of all, we had the daily naked point of control at the low of the range that we tagged 5-minute candle closing over here above the 105 for then the potential entry and the move to the upside. So that's been playing out very nicely. And then over here, what I mentioned with the morning update yesterday is if price goes to the downside and we create bullish divergences, that could be another potential trading setup where, yes, we did get bullish divergences over there at the lows. If I go to the 15-minute, you can see that we over here have the low. We made higher lows on price, but lower lows on the yellow CVD for then creating an absorption scenario where low shorts are being absorbed and the long scenario plays out. So that's been playing out very nicely as well. Now, an important target for me was the daily naked point of control, but the moment you see, look at the volume, guys, this is important Elliott Wave knowledge, right? The moment you see volume increasing like this scenario over here is invalidated. You don't want to basically short into high volume to the upside with big candles to the upside as well. I mean, look at this. I mentioned basically that the short setup was entering at the daily naked point of control in this particular scenario. But we just pushed through the daily naked point of control without any resistance whatsoever over here, right? It just pushed through. There is definitely no setup. Also, with the volume increasing to the upside, there is no short to be taken. Then this was the main resistance area in the target box for a wave C, but because we passed this resistance area now, we're going to look for higher, basically, right? We're going to look for targets higher up. Yes, we found a little bit of resistance here at the 1.618, but because we passed the daily naked point of control, it's that you definitely now want to see a little bit of a range and price calm down. And after such a big push to the upside, we can also imagine that this is still part of a wave 3. We're still going to get some sort of a wave 4 before then a wave 5 to the upside. So that is the reason why the long scenarios can be extended, because you saw the volume to the upside, and the short scenario is invalidated because of the volume and the push through the daily naked point of control. So I do think that is very important information. Of course, it's all educational. You follow your plan and your strategy, but based on Elliott Waves, which also has to do with volume, this is a very important golden nugget. And if we then go to the impulsive structure, and let me go to the 15-minute, we have the following going on where I do think we can still expect a little bit higher, which would also fit the resistance area over here for maybe the end of this scenario. So if you look at the impulse, we could have over here a wave 1, a wave 2, then eventually wave 3 might be in, might not be in. That's the question 4, 5, right? So if we look at this scenario, we then have a wave 1. Wave 2 over here is very, very long and also complex. So one could imagine that this wave 4 in green is going to be more simple. So the rule of alternation is if wave 2 is long and complex, wave 4 tends to be simple and deep, which then tends to be a zigzag structure in this particular scenario. And then what we're looking for is in blue, a 1, 2, then in white, another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the white scenario might be finished, the white impulse, which is basically wave 3 of 3, right? So we have wave 2 looking for 3. We have a blue wave 2 looking for 3. You want to see the highest volume in this move. And as you can see, we got the highest volume in this move, exactly what you want to see. So this could be a nice 5-wave structure inside then the blue wave 3. For then a blue wave 4, like basically ranging right now. So a blue wave 4, then we might get a wave 5 up, a little spike, then go down again for the green wave 4, and then eventually end for a wave 5. So we might enter a bit of a range at the moment, and we will see, of course, how this is going to develop. But I do believe that this move to the upside is not yet finished. Also, we didn't actually take this high, so this high is still fresh. We did get close, but we didn't take it. And because we had high amounts of volume in this structure, I would like a little bit of a range, take the high, maybe another range, take the high again. And then what you're going to get is this being the high of 5, which then ends 3, and then this is 4. Then you're going to get wave 4 over here, which of course is going to be a certain structure, and then we have wave 5, right? So that is something to at least take into account. And also the resistance area then over here is going to be interesting for price to potentially reverse to the downside. So I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the macro and the high time frame video if you're interested. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I will see you at the next one. Bye bye.